Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Saif and today we are going to talk about the Gitignore file. Like what is Gitignore, why it is so important and how you can set rule to prevent committing certain files to your local and remote Git repositories. So be with us till the end and don't forget to subscribe my channel and let's get started. As you all are familiar with GitHub, you may use it for collaborating project hosting code and version control. You are also aware of GitHub essentials like repositories, branches, commit, and pull requests. So let's quickly brush up our knowledge about Git, GitHub, and version control. So, what is Git? Git is a software for tracking changes in any set of files, usually used for coordinating work among programmers, collaboratively developing source code during software development. Its goal include speed, data integrity, and support for distributed and non-linear workflow. Let's understand what GitHub is. GitHub is a code hosting platform for version control and collaboration among Git. It offers the distributed version control and source code management functionality of Git plus its own features. So let's talk about version control in its simplest form. Let's say that I create a new code file and I write a few lines in it. Now I decided to put it in under version control using Git as version 1. Later on, I progress and I write maybe a few more lines of code. And at this point, I decided to make another save point and I call this as a version 2. Now you can switch from version 2 to version 1 at any point of time. Further that, I write a few more line of code, but this time I messed up with the code and error is not solvable as your code is interlinked and each classes depend on another. So I want to roll back to the last saved point or say last saved version. This can be done using version control in Git. You can roll back to the version 2 or version 1 and whatsoever the previous version you want to switch according to your need or requirement. I hope everything is clear till yet. Now let's understand what is Gitignore and why it is so important. Let's move to the Git bash. Suppose you worked on a project where it generate or create multiple files like requirement.txt, sample.py, log.txt, etc. And you also use different services like AWS or GCP where you put your secret key in secret.txt. So let's create file for that. Type touch.txt, create another file like touch sample.py. For log, create another file touch log.txt, and for a secret key create another file, and for various API call we create another file where we store the secret key and secret token. Now initialize the Git repository by using command git init. When there is a lot of file is there, then you most probably not commit each file by its name. You most probably use git command, that is git add dot, and it automatically add all file to git staging area. Let's check git status. As you see, It add all the file to the staging area. But when you carefully see that there is lot of important file we are going to commit it, like secret.txt and API key, and there is also some file that is not useful for other, like log.txt. Git commit command save your save point and also put all credential in your local and remote Git repositories. So we have to avoid committing such file. Very interestingly, there is lot of time it happen where mistakenly developer put the secret key and API key to the GitHub, and the result is very horrible. Like a developer mistakenly put AWS key on GitHub and their whole account is wiped out clean, and he got a 2.3k dollar Bitcoin mining bill. Actually, bot exploits were increasingly common, with hacker running algorithm to perpetually search GitHub for API keys, and when they get that, they exploit it. There are a lot of stories you found on internet where developer loses a lot of money in such a small mistake. So it's really important to think about some of these things and to be aware of what you are putting onto this public platform. To avoid such a small mistake, we use a .gitignore file. Gitignore tells Git which file it should ignore. It is usually used to avoid committing transient files from your working directory that aren't useful to other collaborators or confidential to the developer, like log file, temporary file, API key, secret key, etc. To avoid committing such a file, we add those files in gitignore. Let's move to the git bash and create gitignore file. Before that, remove all file from git staging area. For that, type git rm command to remove all file, cached r flag to remove file recursively, and dot to remove all file, and enter. As it remove all file from staging area, now let's create gitignore file. Open it. Let add the file name that you want to ignore with their extension, like, and save it. Now move to the bash and add all the file to the git staging area. Type git add. Now let's check the git status. As you see, all files are added to the staging area except those files that we are added in git ignore file to ignore it. That's our log file, API key, secret key. So let's commit it. As you see, we commit the file as a version control. Now let's check the git log. Here it written the full log entry like author name, date and time, commit message, branch of commit, etc. for each commit to the repository. You can use hash sign for commit statement in gitignore file, like you also use wildcard character like asterisk sign, like asterisk.txt, where all file with .txt extension will be ignored. Now suppose we work on a project. For that we generally create different log file for different version of our project, and we don't want to commit all the log file. so we can avoid committing it in multiple ways. Before that, let's create some log files. Let's move to the bash. Clear first. Create some file like. Also create a file which contains certain kind of data that is important to commit, like. Let's check the git status. Here you see there is different log file and data file is there, and we only want to commit data file and ignore all log files. This can be done by just putting the name of file in gitignore. So on, or we type log starting extension of file and ending file name extension. It ignore all the log file with ending name 1 to last number that we mentioned, that is 4. So save it, check again the git status. As you see, it remove all file except data.json file. Suppose our log file name is not in continuous manner. It is in the form of like log 1, log 5, log 9, etc. In that case, we use log question mark dot json, where it ignore all the log file with name starting with log and whatsoever the ending name. So save it and again check the git status. It worked fine. Now suppose I want to ignore a folder. For that, create a folder. To ignore any folder, we just simply add the name of folder in gitignore file, like sample. So save it and again check the git status. Here you see it ignored the folder. I also recommend to see the gitignore template file in GitHub, where they contain the sample gitignore templates of different programming language like Python, R, CUDA, C, C++, etc. Let's open Python gitignore file. As you see, it contains the predefined extension file that we use to make our custom gitignore file. In this way, you can ignore multiple files and folder by adding its name in gitignore file and avoid committing it in your local and remote Git repositories. Now I hope everything is clear to you, but if in case you face any kind of difficulty in understanding any part of this topic, please leave a comment below and I will try to help you on that. I hope you like the video. So don't forget to like the video, and if you haven't subscribed my channel yet, do subscribe my channel and press bell icon to never miss an update about our videos. Till then, happy learning.